Once upon a time, deep in the shimmering blue waters of the Great Coral Sea, there lived a tiny red fish named Ruby. Ruby wasn't just any red fish. She sparkled like a ruby stone under the sunbeams that danced through the ocean's surface. She lived near the reef with her parents and her best friend, a yellow seahorse named Sunny. Ruby was curious. More curious than any other fish her age. She would often swim farther than she was supposed to, looking for shiny shells, exploring caves, and asking endless questions about the world around her. Why are starfish so slow? Do sea turtles ever get lost? What's behind the deep drop? The deep drop was a place no young fish dared to go. It was a massive cliff in the ocean floor where the sunlight stopped reaching. All the older fish warned about it. But Ruby's curiosity always bubbled inside her like a pot of seaweed stew. One bright morning, Ruby and Sunny were playing hide-and-seek near a bed of sea anemones when they heard something strange. Rumbling. It wasn't the usual wave or whale sound. It was low and growling like thunder in a cave. Ruby looked around. "Did you hear that?" Sunny's fins fluttered nervously. "Maybe it's just the current." But Ruby wasn't convinced. She followed the sound, weaving through coral arches and kelp forests, until she saw them. A shark gang. 4 of them. Big, gray, mean-looking. Their sharp teeth sparkled as they circled a school of small fish. "Hand over your pearls," the biggest one growled. "Or else we'll shake this reef down." The little fish trembled. They dropped a few shiny pearls they had found earlier that morning. The sharks laughed and swam off, tossing the pearls back and forth. Ruby's gills flared with anger. "That's not right." Sunny, who had caught up, whispered, "Ruby, let's go. We'll get in trouble." But Ruby's heart was set. "No one should be afraid to live in their own reef," she said firmly. "I'm going to stop them." And so began Ruby's mission, to stand up to the shark gang and bring peace to the reef. Ruby swam home that evening, but her heart was heavy. She couldn't stop thinking about the frightened fish, the sneering sharks, and how they laughed as they swam away. Dinner that night was seaweed noodles and plankton pie, but Ruby barely touched her food. "Is something wrong, sweetheart?" her mom asked gently. Ruby hesitated. "Why are sharks always so mean?" Her mom sighed, placing a fin around her. "Not all sharks are mean, Ruby. But the ones that are, they usually don't know how to live without scaring others." Ruby looked down at her noodles. Someone should stop them. Her dad, who had been quietly listening, nodded. Someone brave and someone smart. Ruby's eyes sparkled. She had made up her mind. The next day, Ruby gathered her closest friends. Sunny the seahorse, Cleo the clownfish, and Bubbles the blowfish. They met under the great brain coral, where schools of young fish usually played tag. "I saw the shark gang yesterday," Ruby began. "They were bullying other fish. We can't let them keep doing this." Cleo gasped. "You saw them?" Bubbles puffed up a little. "That's dangerous, Ruby." "I know," Ruby replied. "But I also know we can do something. We don't have to fight. We just need a plan." Sunny tilted his head. "Like a sneaky plan." "A smart one," Ruby corrected with a grin. And so Ruby's reef team was born. The next few days were full of planning. Sunny drew maps with strands of seagrass, Cleo kept lookout near the reef edge, and Bubbles practiced puffing up at just the right moment to startle others. He called it the bubble defense. They learned the sharks' routines. They swam by the purple rock every morning, circled the jelly gardens by noon, and ended near the deep drop before vanishing into the dark. Ruby had an idea. What if we trick them into chasing us, and lead them into a trap? Cleo blinked. "A trap? Not to hurt them," Ruby said quickly. "Just enough to scare them off. We'll use Bubbles' defense, some inky distractions and—" "Octavia," Sunny said suddenly. Octavia the octopus lived near the old shipwreck. She was wise and clever, and she loved puzzles. If anyone could help them build a shark-proof plan, it was her. Later that evening, the team visited the shipwreck. It was dark and covered in mossy algae, but inside, Octavia was sorting shiny stones into perfect little rows. She looked up and blinked with all 8 eyes. Visitors. At this hour. Ruby swam forward. We need your help. And Ruby explained everything, the bullies, the fear, the idea of standing up. Octavia listened quietly, then said, Bravery isn't about having sharp teeth or big fins. It's about doing what's right even when you're scared. So, you'll help us? Cleo asked hopefully. Octavia smiled. Let's make those sharks wish they'd stayed in the deep. Back at the reef, the plan began to take shape. They would lure the sharks into the jelly gardens, where Octavia would create a giant ink cloud to confuse them. Then, bubbles would puff up and float through the mist, pretending to be a sea monster. Meanwhile, Cleo would swim in quick circles to create spirals of sand, and Sunny would dash through with seaweed ropes to tangle their tails. And I'll be the bait, Ruby said. Ruby! Sunny exclaimed. That's too dangerous. They won't expect it, she replied. They think I'm just a little red fish. Octavia gave her a long look. Just remember, courage doesn't mean going alone. Ruby nodded. She would be brave, but she wouldn't be alone. The next morning, the reef shimmered with sunlight, but tension bubbled beneath the waves. Ruby swam to the purple rock and waited. Sure enough, the shark gang appeared, gliding like shadows through the coral. The leader, Scar, snorted when he saw her. Well, if it isn't a snack with fins. Ruby gulped but held her ground. You're not welcome here anymore. Scar and the others laughed. And who's going to stop us? You. Ruby flipped her fin. Follow me and find out. She darted off toward the jelly gardens. The sharks, intrigued and amused, gave chase. Ruby's heart pounded as she wove through glowing jellyfish and twisting kelp. Then whoosh! An explosion of ink filled the water. The sharks stopped in confusion. What the? Out of the cloud came a monstrous shadow. Bubbles puffed and glowing with bioluminescent paint. The sharks yelped and swam in panic circles. Seaweed ropes tangled their tails. Sandy spirals rose up, disorienting them. And then Ruby swam up, bold and clear. This is our home. You don't get to scare anyone anymore. The shark gang thrashed, but they were stuck, humiliated, confused and scared. Finally Scar growled. This isn't over, fish. But it was. Because from that day on, the shark gang stayed away from the reef. No more bullying. No more stolen pearls. Ruby had done it, not with strength but with heart, friends and smarts.